You're a logical guest on the show because you have been a prized off-season acquisition by the Canucks, and you've brought to them exactly what they expected you to bring. This is me trying to loosen you up now, Manny, after a tough night.
He was worried about this, by the way. He was going to pass it off on me.
Is the best part, before we get to PJ Stock, who's standing by in Toronto to ask you a question, is the best part of tonight the fact that you're playing again tomorrow night and you got a chance to make it right away?
Yeah, we discussed it after the game. Obviously not the result we wanted. More importantly, not the effort we wanted. Yeah. We just didn't play like ourselves. And the best part, like you said, we don't have a chance to think about it. We come ready to play tomorrow, and there's obviously two ways to handle this. We can go into a little bit of a shell and feel sorry for ourselves, or get right back to business. But I know we'll respond the right way tomorrow. PJ
Stock counts you as one of his best friends from his playing days. Do you feel the same, or is he creeping on you?
I'll say he's my friend on air right now, but we'll talk afterwards.
Well, PJ standing by in Toronto with a question.
Mr. Malhotra, if you had to pick a player from your career whom you'd like to thank for taking time to work with you, your most influential role model, mentor, Miyagi-type life coach, you would pick?
You'd be at the top of the list. It's either you or Adam Graves.
Oh, Graves.
So, Gravy took care of us both, I think, when our first year there. So
yeah, he's referring to your time together in New York, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my first year, Stalker was there, Adam Graves was there, and he really genuine guys, you know, but really took care of us and kind of kept me away from Stalker at the right moments.
Hey, PJ, thanks for sticking around to ask that question. I honestly thought it'd be better than that, but okay, go ahead.
He's going to co-host.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not done. Manny, they put you beside Gretzky in a dressing room. What's the one thing you learned from sitting beside Wayne in your first couple of years?
There's a lot of stuff. I think the biggest thing for me, and a lot of people ask me what's the most memorable story about him, was my first game sitting beside him. He asked me, are you nervous, kid? And I obviously said, yeah. And he said, so am I. So I took a second to think about it, and thought, if the greatest player of all time in the National Hockey League's nervous, in his 20th season, his first game of the year, it's all right for me to be nervous as long as it was focused energy. So he really took time to always make sure I was comfortable and I understood what was going on in the room, and just a classy individual.
That it, PJ?
I'm done. I got to get last call. Okay. Sorry, Manny. Last call.
Yeah, Rudy's waiting for you. Better rush.
All right, take care, Stalker.
Let me follow up on that, though. You played as a young player in the National Hockey League, and we all know that it's a tough adjustment you've gone through, especially in a big market like New York. What did you learn out of those first couple of years? And, second year, maybe not as much success. What do you take out of that now as a 12-year veteran that you learned early on in your career from that?
I think the upside to that, if you can call it one, is the fact I learned to go through a lot at a young age, and everybody around me continued to tell me to focus and continue to be a better player. As you said, in my second year, didn't receive a lot of ice time, didn't play very much, and there's so many questions that go through your head as a player. Why am I not playing? What should I be doing? What am I doing wrong? And my biggest focus coming to the rink every day was making sure I improved my game, did whatever the coaches asked of me, all the bag skating, all the extra work with the assistant coaches. I made sure I was sharp and executed in practice, try to improve my game as opposed to sulking and moping about not playing.
On the flip side of that, though, here 12 years later, you had a career high last year in goals and a career high the year before in points. Is it just the maturity that you've had and the right fix? Like, obviously you feel like Vancouver was a nice fit as well.
Yeah, everything seems to be coming together right now for me, in terms of all the things I've learned over my career are obviously coming together. The confidence factor is a big thing. As you become more and more of a veteran, just confidence out on the ice in your ability, knowing what's expected of you, knowing your role on the ice helps out a lot.
Manny, the Rangers drafted you 7th overall in 1998, and of course the expectation for any player taken in, say, the first 10 or 12 picks in the first round is they're going to be a goal scorer, and it hasn't turned out that way for you. So here's a BlackBerry, or I think it's Twitter, from Pam in Canmore. When did you realize that you would have to start doing other things to stay in the game?
I guess my first couple years, I had my first year especially, Mac T was one of our assistants, and he kind of taught me the ropes of taking face-offs and being a good defensive player. but I don't think it really hit home until I got to Columbus. And, you know, from that point, I was picked up on waivers by Columbus from Dallas. And, you know, it was that point that I was given that checking mentality role. And they said, you know, this is where you're going to carve your niche. This is where you're going to be a player in this league. So I really started to hone my skills and try to improve in that aspect of my game.
Okay, but here's a piece of video of a spectacular goal you scored for Columbus in 04. And the question is, if you can score one like this, why can't you get 30 a year?
That was that was definitely a fun one. I don't know. I guess it's you know, you always try to set yourself up and be in the right place at the right time. And I think last year and more so this year, you look at the depth that we have in the lineup, and there's an opportunity to be offensive every night. So, you know, definitely looking for bigger and better things this year.
Well, you said something that really strikes to me, the maturity you have as an older player and understanding going through the highs and lows. Do you really feel, though, now that you look at successful teams, they have players like you that fill a specific role? Do you feel really comfortable in the one that you're now put in here?
Yeah, I had great talks with both AV and Mike prior to signing here, and they really outlined the role that they had for me, and it really you know, was exactly what I was looking for. And so just the way I've been used out there, being put on for certain face-offs, being out on the penalty kill, you know, being out in key moments of the game, that's something that you strive for as a player, and I've really enjoyed the role so far.
Face-off's probably the best part of your game, and I think we were talking earlier today. You made the point that this is really what's kept you in the league for, you know, a dozen years. Here you are working on it this morning. You led the league last year at about 65%. You're over 60% this year, I think. It wasn't great tonight, I know, but we'll discard that as we talk about your work in the circle. What about the art of the draw for you? What makes it work?
I think the basics of it are just speed and strength, and a lot of hand-eye coordination. So those are the basics I got from Mac T. And then the biggest thing he was saying was do whatever works for you, be comfortable in what you're doing. And over the years, just developed more and more things that have worked for me. And you know, as years go on, to just focus on you know, just minor aspects of taking draws and where stick positioning is, where I am on the ice, who am I going against. All those things come into play.
What strikes me there is just how down low you are and how low your hand is down on your stick. If we had taken Manny Malhotra, the rookie in New York, one of your first face-offs, how different would it look than what you look like there?
It would have been night and day. Yeah, it just over the years, I think once I got to the NHL, you realize how strong
the guys are.
Yeah. You know, you're playing with men now. They're men's strength, so it's not a matter of you know, trying to dipsy doodle your way into the circle and trying to quick a puck out of there. It's you better get ready.
Can't do anything cute at all.
There's no cutesy draws out there. It's you get muscled out if you try to play that way.
Tim, Malhotra versus Danico. I just want to warn our producers so we can get the tape ready, but we'll go to the archives for this. This got a lot of play. Here you are in your 20, I think, in the year 2000-2001 season, fighting a grizzled veteran, Ken Danico, who was 35 then. You dropped him with a shot to the button. What did that do for your confidence? Or did it frighten you because you were playing him the next game and he had his eye out for you?
Yeah, it was. That was one of those situations. Something had happened to Eric Lacroix the night before, and he ended up sticking up for himself. So it was at the back of my mind, and something happened right off the face-off there to him again. So I had to stand up for him at that point. But right after the game, the reporters were saying, you know, how you feeling going into the next game? You're going into New Jersey, playing against those guys. So I was ready for what may have come, but sure enough, Sandy McCarthy was on my line the next game going into New Jersey.
Protect you a little bit.
I felt a bit more confident.
Well, you think about that, new teammates and sticking up for teammates. How difficult is it coming in as an older guy to a room that is a fairly experienced room here in Vancouver too? How do you wade into that to find a way of where you fit, both, you know, in the pecking order and in the room, and trying to relate to guys? How's that been?
I think one thing that made it really easy for me this year was we summer in Victoria, and we got here in early August to try to settle in. My wife was pregnant, so we wanted to get situated, just be comfortable with our surroundings, and slowly more and more guys started to trickle in. So I got to know guys individually before kind of everybody got to camp, and you know, you're trying to meet guys all at the same time. So I think that helped out a lot. I just kind of felt more comfortable around the guys once more and more guys, and once we got down to our our final room, I just felt more confident with the guys in there. And as I was saying before, as you become more and more veteran player, you know, you don't hesitate to say what you need to say, or I guess that's kind of always been the way I've been, is you know, you kind of know when you're supposed to be quiet and when it's time to say
step up
something.
and not.